Schenkel with the windup of an action-filled touchdown series. For our final show, Touchdowns editors have picked the top 10 teams in the nation from our week-to-week survey of the best games from coast to coast. These are the teams we believed would be the best of 1958, and the action you're about to see bears us out. Number 10 on our parade of pigskin powerhouses is Mississippi. Johnny Vaught's Rebels compiled an 8-2 record in the Southwest Conference, which boasts two other members of the top 10. Watch Ole Miss move as quarterback Bobby Franklin pegs to star halfback Kent Lovelace. This combination sparked many a Rebel raid. Franklin works Mississippi wing T offense to perfection. Here he is firing to Lovelace again for a tidy gain. The Rebels were never shy about passing. Franklin is a mighty cool customer under fire, as he proves here by getting a good one away with a tackle at his throat. The Rebels are going the other way, but they're still headed for the goal line, and Franklin almost gets them there with a pitch to Carl Smith. Franklin wedges across, and the Rebels have a touchdown. Watch the slashing Rebel defense on this play. They block the punt, and it goes out on the 21 to put them in scoring position. Here's an Ole Miss man who doesn't miss. It's Bob Kayak kicking a Rebel field goal for another Mississippi tally. The hard-hitting Rebel line forced many a fumble. The ball gets away from the opposition here, and an alert defender falls on it for Mississippi. When it gets the ball, Ole Miss knows what to do with it. Charlie Flowers finds a huge hole waiting for him, and he gets through. The middle of that Rebel line has a tremendous charge, and again, Charlie Flowers takes advantage of it to pick up more ground for Ole Miss. Bobby Franklin isn't averse to a little footwork when his receivers are covered. Here, Franklin flashes to a first down as he finds a little running room. When the Rebels get this close, it's just bound to be touchdown Mississippi. Franklin passes and Warren Jenkins catches in the end zone for the 6 points as Ole Miss shows its muscle en route to the number 10 spot in the nation. The colorful Southwest Conference provides the 9th team in America. It's the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian, who captured the conference crown and will be the hosts in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. It was TCU's victory over the Rice that decided the championship. Let's watch the action. Rice with the ball. Pat Bailey banging for 15 yards. The Owls were determined to repeat as conference champions. John Schnabel throws to his All-America end Buddy Dial as Rice moves closer. Schnabel dials the right number again, and his long-distance heave is received in the end zone by Buddy Dial as the Owls take a 7-0 lead. But the Horned Frogs show how to even things up in a hurry. Halfback Marv Lassiter snatches a Rice fumble in midair and speeds untouched for 58 yards to score a TCU touchdown as the Horned Frogs tie it up at 7-7. Texas Christian starts a march with passing master Hunter Ennis hoisting one to Marshall Harris for a good gain. Ennis and Harris were the scourge of the Southwest with their little game of pitch and catch. Harris makes a nice run on the end of this pass play. The Frogs find pay dirt with fullback Jack Spikes ramming across. TCU leads Rice 14-7. With the score at 14-10, TCU doesn't like the pinch. Another talented TCU tosser, Larry Dawson, drops one into the hands of Jim Gilmore for a 30-yard gain. Billy Galt shows off TCU ground power as he rips over right tackle. Dawson and Gilmore hook up, and the Owls are shook up as the pass goes for a TD. TCU leads Rice 21-10. With Rice going all out to score, the Horned Frog secondary takes over as Marv Lassiter makes a key interception and totes the ball out of bounds. Top-notch play all the way took TCU to the Southwest Conference Championship, the Cotton Bowl, and the number 9 spot on Touchdowns Top 10. Syracuse University fielded a tough, hard-hitting team that battled its way through top opposition to earn the 8th spot in the national rankings. Number 23, Chuck Zimmerman, captain and quarterback of the Orange, provided them with the leadership they needed for a great season. Their toughest game was with Pittsburgh. It's Pitt with the ball, but not for long as the Orangemen jolt it loose and recover in Panther territory. Watch the blocking the orange line gives fullback Ed Kiefer as he rumbles for 13 yards. When the situation calls for a field goal attempt, Syracuse summons left-footed Bob Yates, and his port side placement is perfect. Syracuse leads Pitt 3-0. Syracuse on the attack with Zimmerman throwing a screen pass to Art Baker. Baker is just too fast for the Panthers as he bolts for 35 yards. With 3rd and 9, Zimmerman comes up with a big play when it's needed as he hits Tom Stevens for 15 yards and a first down. The slow-motion camera highlights the hard-hitting Syracuse ground attack with Tom Stevens carrying the ball. The Orange Bowl-bound Orangemen give their backs good blocking. Zimmerman pulls a nice fake and keeps the ball for a Syracuse touchdown. And the Orange leads Pittsburgh 10-0 at the half. The Panthers score in the 3rd period, and here they go again as Fred Riddle churns into pay dirt to give Pittsburgh the lead at 13-10. It's the final period, and Syracuse needs a touchdown to win. Chuck Zimmerman hands to Art Baker, who slashes for 11 yards. The Orangemen pull off a little razzle-dazzle on this play. It's a short pass to Stevens, who laterals to Baker, and it all adds up to another first down. The inspired Syracuse line makes plenty of room for Tom Stevens, and he drives hard for 11 yards. 3rd and 5, and Zimmerman needs to come up with another big play. He finds one that fits perfectly as he rolls out and passes to Stevens to make it goal to go. That was the key play of the game as Zimmerman sneaks for the touchdown from close in. By conquering Pitt 16-13 and going on to down West Virginia, Syracuse battled its way to the 8th spot on touchdowns roster of gridiron giants. The Buckeyes of Ohio State, one of the perennial powers on the national collegiate scene, are up there again. The stalwarts of Woody Hayes feature fundamental football with plenty of sock. Their tie with Purdue was a thriller all the way. It's Purdue punting, but Jim Houston blocks the kick. Jim Marshall scoops up the ball on a heads-up play that goes all the way as the Buckeyes lead Purdue 7-0. Ohio State's All-America fullback Bob White shows off his specialty as he drives straight ahead. Quarterback Frank Krembliss shows he has plenty of power too as he keeps and gets good yardage. But the brakes go against the Buckeyes here. Frank Krembliss carries and fumbles when hit. Purdue recovers to kill the threat. Misfortune strikes the Boilermakers as State's defensive demons Marshall and Houston team up. Marshall steals the pass deflected by Houston, and the Husky tackle scores his 2nd touchdown of the game. Ohio State leads Purdue 14-0. The Buckeyes explode some more defensive dynamite on this play. Purdue's Bob Spoo sends a long pass downfield. Tom Matty makes a beautiful interception on the 2, shakes off a tackler, and tears upfield on a twisting return to the State 35. The Buckeyes bid for a score on the last play of the half as Krembliss passes to Houston. It's complete, but the Boilermakers bring him down after 20 yards. Purdue moves in the final period. Ross Fitchner hits Len Jardine for an 18-yard profit. The Boilermakers are playing inspired football. Bob Jarris belts into the end zone as Purdue makes it a 14-6 game. Battered by the Buckeye defense, Purdue goes overhead with Ross Fitchner firing to Tom Frankhauser for 21 yards. With 2 minutes left in the game, Purdue becomes one of the few teams to find a flaw in the Buckeye defense. Pitchner and Frank Hauser exploit the situation as Purdue moves to the 11. Pitchner has his Boilermakers close to a score, and he takes them the rest of the way with a pass to Dick Brooks in the end zone. It's 14-12, Ohio State leading, and right here is where the new conversion rule cost Ohio State a victory and possibly the Big Ten championship. Purdue's two-point try is good to earn a 14-14 tie with the nation's 7th-ranked team, the Buckeyes of Ohio State. A new giant stalks the West in the form of the Falcons of the United States Air Force Academy. This amazing team went undefeated in its first season in major competition to earn a trip to the Cotton Bowl and the number 6 ranking in the nation. Their greatest victory was over Colorado, and they won it by taking advantage of every break. It's Colorado scoring here to take an 8-0 lead. But watch what happens as the Air Force punts. It's taken by Howard Cook. He fumbles, and Bob Brickey recovers for the Falcons on the Colorado 25. It's a big break for the Airmen, and they know what to do about it. Rich Mayo is back to pass. He finds Tom Joswiak, and the big end from Detroit makes the catch for a 24-yard TD. The Falcons fail on the 2-point try, and it's 8-6. Things look tough for the Jet jockeys as Colorado scores again in the second period. It's Eddie Dove taking a handoff and racing to a 31-yard touchdown that makes the halftime score read Colorado 14, Air Force 6. In the third period, the Air Force pulls off another key defensive play as Rich Mayo punts. Again, the receiver is Howard Cook. Again, the ball gets away from Cook, and the alert Falcons pounce on it to take over on their own 40. The Airmen show off the striking power of their attack. Bill Lane gets good blocking in the line, and he's through to gallop 60 yards to a touchdown. Colorado still leads, but it's 14-12 now. Colorado with the ball after the kickoff as Boyd Dowler elects to pass. DeRoy Clark has his toss, but fumbles. Mike Rollins fields the ball in midair and rockets 20 yards to score. The Falcons lead 20-14 as they take advantage of every break. Late in the game, Colorado threatens to tie it up from the 2, but George Adams fumbles. The Air Force recovers to close out an undefeated season. Now, touchdown 6th-ranked team must face 9th-ranked TCU on the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. Another nearly permanent resident in the top 10 is Oklahoma. The Boomer Sooners have dominated the Big 8 for so long that the other members no longer hope for the crown. They battle it out for second place. Touchdowns number 511 will be meeting Syracuse in the Orange Bowl on January 1st. The Sooners sewed up their umpteenth Big 8 title by thrashing Missouri, and here they are in the process with Dave Baker passing to Brewster Hobby for 14 yards. The running pass for the halfback is a feature of the Oklahoma split T attack. Brewster Hobby shows how it's done as he finds Ross Coyle, and Ross races for the goal line. Nobody can catch him, and the Sooners Speed Boys get off to a flying 7-0 start. Here's that halfback pass play again. This time it's Jim Carpenter taking the pitch out and hurling one to Brewster Hobby on the Missouri 35. The racehorse Sooner offense steps off the yardage. Jim Carpenter carries for a nice gain. The Oklahoma juggernaut keeps right on rolling as Brewster Hobby goes the other way to turn the corner for a first down. Now it's a keeper with quarterback Dave Baker loping wide to the Missouri 5. Watch the charge of the Sooner forward wall as Hobby hammers over. Oklahoma is on top 14-0 at halftime. Oklahoma keeps right on coming. Hobby rolls out and flips a little pass to Jim Carpenter. Prentice Gott shows he's a man to watch next year as he breaks through the line and bowls over the Tigers on a slashing run. This play is so beautifully executed it looks easy. Hobby passes to Carpenter, who nails down a touchdown for a 20-0 Sooner lead. The great Oklahoma offense was at its best against Missouri. Bob Boyd passes to Carpenter, who takes it over his shoulder for a first down. Bobby Boyd sprints around the left side on the keeper, gets good blocking, and makes it into the end zone as the score climbs to 27-0 Sooners. Oklahoma is dangerous in any situation. The Tigers of Missouri are punting here. The ball goes to Bobby Boyd, and that's bad news for Old Mizzou. Bobby lives up to Sooner tradition by toting it all the way to the end zone as Oklahoma piles it up. Even Oklahoma's third string is a team to reckon with. Missouri tries a pass, but it's Sooner Bobby Cornell doing the catching and ripping off a rousing return. Sophomore Bob Page skirts left in to score the final touchdown in Oklahoma's most convincing victory of the season, its 70th consecutive conference win. Next stop for our number 5 team, the Orange Bowl. In the 4th position on touchdowns totem pole of football giants is Auburn, which rolled to its 2nd straight undefeated season in the Southeastern Conference. Featuring a formidable forward wall and a new-look passing attack, Auburn finished the season against a rugged Alabama. It's Auburn with the ball, bulldozing a path for Jim Pettis through the Crimson Tide. Dick Wood, Auburn's number 2 signal caller, hits Leo Sexton as the Plainsmen drive inside the Bama 10. Dick Wood, a 6'5" giant, keeps for a 5-yard gain. Wood towers over the other players as he straightens up and hits Jim Pettis in the end zone for an Auburn touchdown. They lead 7-0. Auburn shows its defensive strength as Alabama fumbles. It's a 7-yard setback for the Crimson Tide. Bobby Jackson is back to pass, but Jerry Wilson, one of Auburn's 3 All-America linemen, spills him for a 12-yard loss. Auburn is still on top 7-0 at halftime. The Plainsmen hit the touchdown trail again as lanky Dick Wood finds Joe Leichnam with a 24-yard pass. Jim Pettis, behind a crunching block, sprints wide for a 6-yard gain. Auburn opens the final period with an insurance touchdown over tough Alabama to finish its season undefeated and appear in touchdowns top 10 for the 2nd straight year. Number 3 in America is the mighty football machine of Army. The cadets of the United States Military Academy went undefeated, but yielded a tie to powerful Pittsburgh. For the cadets, their greatest victory was their 22-6 conquest of Navy. It's the middies marching here with Tranchini throwing to John Canuck. Joe Bellino drives straight ahead to give Navy the first score of the game. His touchdown makes it 6-0 as Ray Wellborn misses the conversion. Now the men in gray take over. Quarterback Joe Caldwell fakes and fires to Don Usry for an Army first down. Caldwell crisscrosses his halfbacks in Army's powerful crossbuck series. Anderson hammers all the way to the Navy 3. The middie defense digs in. Army comes up to the line. The give is to Anderson, and he blasts over. The Black Knights have a 7-6 lead late in the 2nd quarter. The Black Knights attack again. Caldwell passes to All-American halfback Pete Dawkins, and Peerless Pete gets to the Navy 34. Dawkins, a 1958 Maxwell and Heisman Awards winner, scrambles through the middle of the midi line as Army moves to the Navy 24. Dawkins does it again with a pulverizing thrust to the 14. On the opening play of the 4th quarter, Bob Anderson slashes over with the 2nd Army touchdown. The West Pointers take a 14-6 lead in the top classic of collegiate football. Navy tries to close the gap on the arm of Joe Tranchini, but Bob Usry intercepts the pass and races 38 yards to score the touchdown that puts the game out of reach of the midshipmen. Bob Anderson then treats the fans to a free football as Army takes a 20-6 lead. Pete Dawkins closes out his Army career by firing to Bob Anderson for the 2-point conversion. West Point wins 22-6 to claim the Lambert Trophy and finish unbeaten to become touchdowns number 3 team. The number 2 team in the country is the champion of the Big Ten, the team that will meet California in the Rose Bowl, the Hawkeyes of Iowa. The men of Forrest Avashevsky had their greatest day against the Irish in Notre Dame, and they were led by Randy Duncan, their All-American quarterback. Iowa has the ball early in the game. Mike Ojigo passes to Bob Prescott, and the big end grabs it off between 2 defenders to make it goal to go. Iowa breaks into the scoring column to open the second quarter as Willie Fleming wheels wide to the left and over the goal line. Iowa takes a 7-0 lead over Notre Dame. Randy Duncan comes in to handle the Hawkeye attack. Duncan dances back and flings a long one. Fleming is behind his man and pulls in the ball as he hits the end zone for a sparkling score and a 13-0 lead. Watch the Irish get right back into the thick of things. George Izo shoots a pass out to Monty Stickles, and Notre Dame's All-America end is on his way. Monty disposes of the last tackler with a backhanded swat and romps to a 69-yard score. Now it's a 13-7 game. In the second half, Iowa rumbles goalward again. John Nacera thunders over the middle to a first down in Irish territory. Randy Duncan has fine protection as he steps back to pass. Alan Miller makes the catch on the Notre Dame 7. John Nacera puts down his head and follows his blockers into the end zone. Hawkeye fans are happy as Iowa widens its lead to 19-7. Notre Dame pulls up to 19-14, and that's too close for Randy Duncan. He pitches a long pass to Don Norton. Norton fields it behind Bob Williams' back and prances to a 53-yard touchdown as Iowa shows devastating punch in taking a 25-14 lead. Notre Dame's Izo is on the firing line again, but the wide-awake Hawkeye defense deflects his pass. Charlie Lee grabs it, and the big tackle almost makes it all the way for a score, but he was down on the 1. Mitch Ojigo sneaks across as Iowa piles it up. It's a 31-21 defeat of Notre Dame to prove that the Hawkeyes of Iowa deserve their number 2 place in the standings. The Tigers of Louisiana State University are number 1 on every poll in the country. Undefeated and untied in 10 straight games, the Tigers are unquestionably the most powerful team to come out of Dixie in years. All-America halfback Billy Cannon is just one of a flock of fleet and hard-hitting backs. Let's watch the Tigers tear into Tulane in the Sugar Bowl. It's quarterback Warren Rabb roaring around right end. LSU will be back here to take on Clemson on New Year's Day. LSU's ground game is flashy and powerful. It's Billy Cannon cutting back to score. Coach Paul Dietzel's Tigers earned him recognition as Coach of the Year. The Greenies try to get going here, but LSU is just as tough on defense as on offense. Max Fugler intercepts the pass and gets back to the Tulane 30. The fancy-faking Rabb has the Tulane defense bewildered as he sends Cannon crashing to the green 19. The Tiger backs pull the defense to the left as Rabb rolls out to the right all alone. Rabb rockets into the end zone for an 8-yard touchdown. LSU leads 13-0. LSU has 2 devastating offensive units. Johnny Robinson spells Billy Cannon as he takes a pitch out wide and sweeps down the sideline for a 34-yard touchdown. The Tigers top the tough Southeastern Conference with ease. LSU's famous Chinese Bandits defensive unit performs on this play. They storm in to pull down the passer. Chuck Strange recovers his fumble, and the Tigers are on the Tulane 10. All-American Billy Cannon makes short work of the final 10 yards as he weaves his way for the tally. State leads Tulane 27-0. Fourth quarter, and Coach Dietzel has a new cage full of Tigers in the game. Durrell Mathern fades and shot puts a screen pass to Don Purvis. Purvis puts on a running performance that has 84,000 fans on their feet as he dodges and dances 54 yards to another Tiger tally. LSU has its first offensive unit back in the game with the same smashing results. Warren Rabb whips a long pass to Johnny Robinson, and Robinson keeps his feet to stride into the end zone for a 45-yard touchdown to make it 41-0 Tigers. Against this team, Tulane can't move beyond its own 10, and Ed Dunn punts from the end zone. Johnny Robinson takes it on the 34. And before you can say Jack Robinson, Johnny is over for still another Tiger touchdown to boost the score to 49-0. Rabb and Robinson team up for another touchdown pass as LSU thrashes Tulane 62-0. The Tigers of Louisiana State combine a brilliant offense, an awesome array of top personnel, and an airtight defense to become the #1 collegiate football team of 1958. Touchdowns Top 10 is our final show for 1958. On the evidence shown by our films, they are the cream of the collegiate crop. Remember Louisiana State, Iowa, Army, Auburn, Oklahoma, the Air Force Academy, Ohio State, Syracuse, Texas Christian, and Mississippi. And watch for them on Touchdown in 1959. We hope you've enjoyed seeing the big plays from the big games each week. This is Chris Schenkel saying so long. Hope you'll be tuning our way next season.
Intercollegiate football is much more than a game. It is a unique and powerful educational force of vital importance to this country. You are about to see a film of the first annual dinner of the National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame. This is the night that dramatically testified that the spirit born on the playing fields infuses itself into stands and classrooms and is a part of the nation's leaders. President Eisenhower, General of the Army MacArthur, Cliff Hood, Warren Tripp, Don Lowry, General Clay, Homer Bradley. You will see them all. This night made clear that we can have the best of two worlds, that of the mind and the body. In furtherance of which, in every high school annually, our chapters will present an award to the boy on the football squad who has added to his natural football talent outstanding qualities of school citizenship together with the devotion to his studies. The big news about football is that in a self-regulated sport, and remember, no laws or state enforcement officers are involved, the game is played honorably on the field in true amateur spirit, and it is officiated with integrity. We hold that it is not the strength of one's muscles or the victories easily attained that constitute the attractiveness of sport. It is rather the assured domain over one's faculties. In short, football not only teaches a man, it helps make the man. To spread the benefits of the game more widely, to get more boys to play it, more educators to appreciate that the rigid volunteer rules of right and wrong in sport are powerful forces in moral training, second only to the church. This is the worthy task to which the National Football Foundation is dedicated.
November 1958 in New York City, the National Football Foundation and Football's Hall of Fame pay tribute to some of the game's all-time greats. President Eisenhower is the honored guest of the evening. One of West Point's greatest military backfields is assembled here as the president stands between Omar Bradley and Douglas MacArthur. The invocation is pronounced by Dr. Herbert Cooper of Lafayette College. Screen star Gordon McRae is one of the many special guests. Tom Hamilton is a member of the Foundation's Executive Committee. Ernie Nevers is one of Stanford's all-time greats. Elmer Layton was the fullback of the immortal Four Horsemen. Also present is the former Alabama and Green Bay Packers end Don Hudson. Benny Friedman, former Michigan All-American, is now head coach at Brandeis. Otto Graham, the Northwestern All-American, rose to great heights with the Cleveland Browns. Alex Wojciechowicz was a member of Fordham's famous 7 blocks of granite. Paul Chrisman gained fame at Missouri and with the Chicago Cardinals. George Murphy, noted Hollywood star, is the master of ceremonies. Herb Schreiner had everyone in stitches during the evening, including the president. The Dean of College Football, Lou Little, introduces the Hall of Fame members. Ed Garbish, former Army All-American, introduces the 1958 electees. First is Cy Young, one of the South's greatest broken field runners. Frank Schwab played guard for Lafayette College, making All-American in 1921 and 1922. Marshall Goldberg was an All-American in 1937 and 1938 for the Pitt Panthers. Francis Pug Lund was All-American in 1933 and 1934 for Minnesota. Harry Kipke, Michigan's All-American in 1922, was one of the finest punters that football has ever produced. Harry Struldreher was the quarterback of the legendary Four Horsemen of Notre Dame, making All-American in 1924. Chester J. LaRoche, president of the National Football Foundation, presents the first gold medal award to Dwight David Eisenhower, President of the United States. Here is part of the President's acceptance speech.
Morale, the will to win, the fighting heart, are the honored hallmarks of the football coach and player. Likewise, they are characteristic of the enterprising executive, the successful troop leader, the established artist, and the dedicated teacher and scientist. My thanks to you for a fine evening. My congratulations to our honored guests, and my very best wishes for another wonderful football year. Thank you very much.
The President receives a standing ovation from the gathering as he personally congratulates the new electees. George Murphy makes the final acknowledgments. The Football Hall of Fame is now a reality.